Welcome, Grade 7 learners, to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here because today we're embarking on this epic roadmap that covers literally hundreds of years of human history. We're going to look at the entire landscape of your modern world history course. And let me tell you, this isn't just a dusty list of things that happened a long time ago. No way. This is the story of how our modern world was built, block by block, idea by idea. We're going to break down the structure of your year so you know exactly where we're going and how all these incredible eras actually connect to each other. Right off the bat, this question is our anchor for everything. Why do new ideas sometimes transform whole societies? Throughout our 39-week journey together, we aren't just going to memorize dates or the names of kings and queens. We're going to become investigators. We'll hunt down the new ideas in every single civilization we study, from giant scientific breakthroughs to revolutionary political concepts, and we'll figure out exactly how those ideas tipped the scales and completely transformed the way everyday people lived. Okay, let's dive into our agenda for this explainer. 1. Transforming whole societies. 2. The Middle Ages foundations. 3. A changing world. 4. Modern times and conflict. And 5. Your historical toolkit. Section 1. Transforming whole societies. So your pacing guide acts as our ultimate syllabus for the year, and it divides the school year into 3 distinct 13-week units. I kind of like to think of them as 3 seasons of your favorite TV show. You know, you can't just skip season 1 and expect the finale to make any sense. We start by laying down the foundations of the ancient and medieval world, and then we trace that massive domino effect of events all the way up to our complex, interconnected modern day. 13 weeks per unit is really the perfect amount of time to unpack the mysteries of each era. Section 2. The Middle Ages Foundations. Just look at the impressive global scope we are tackling right away in Unit 1. We are not just staying in one little corner of the globe. Over these 13 weeks, we explore 4 fascinating chapters. We'll travel to China, head over to medieval Africa, where rulers like Mansa Musa held just an unimaginable amount of wealth. We'll sail over to medieval Japan and explore medieval Europe. We get to see how these completely different civilizations solved problems, governed their people, and innovated, all during the exact same broad stretch of time. And we see this so clearly through their concrete achievements. In China, you've got world-changing innovations popping up like gunpowder, the magnetic compass, and printed books. South of the Sahara in Africa, we see these incredibly vibrant new cultural expressions, including completely new forms of music and dance. Over in Japan, they're developing a constitution right alongside amazing new forms of art and poetry. And in Europe, we witness the very first vital steps toward representative government. You see, these aren't just random facts. They're literally the puzzle pieces of the modern world. Now, behind the scenes of all these stories, we'll focus heavily on 2 main arrow standards. First up is time, continuity, and change. Basically, we want to understand the patterns. Why do some things change at lightning speed while others stay exactly the same for centuries? Second, we focus on geography. We're going to investigate the relationship between human societies and their physical environments. Because as you'll see, where you live drastically changes how you live, how you trade, and ultimately, how you survive. Section 3. A changing world. Moving right along into our next 13-week unit, Unit 2, we cover chapters 16 through 18. We start by looking at the early Americas, all the way up to the 16th century. Then, we dive headfirst into eras that are famous for just totally challenging the status quo. The Renaissance, the Reformation, the Enlightenment, and the Age of Revolution. This is the unit where people really start questioning everything they were previously told to believe. It's a real game changer. Notice how perfectly this definition of the Renaissance connects back to our essential question, a period of rapid cultural and intellectual development. We're talking about new ideas, art, science, philosophy, all of it exploding at once and effectively bringing the Middle Ages to an end. This right here is exactly how new ideas transform whole societies. Because the world is getting way more complex in Unit 2, our focus naturally has to shift. We move from those foundational standards of time and geography into exploring economics, culture, and identity. We'll look at how economies actually impact real, everyday people, how goods are produced, traded, and consumed, and how those social structures influence who you are. We'll examine intellectual developments among societies and analyze social systems to see how they influence individual identities. History gets a lot more personal here. Section 4, Modern Times and Conflict. Watch how this all builds into an absolute crescendo in Unit 3. In Phase 1, we hit the French and Industrial Revolutions, massive, sweeping changes to government and technology. Phase 2 leads us into the high tensions of imperialism, which culminates in the devastating global scale of World War I. Phase 3 takes us through the absolute catastrophe of World War II, straight into the geopolitical chess match of the Cold War. And finally, Phase 4 brings us to the post-Cold War era, literally building the exact world we are standing in today. To process all this intense conflict and rapid change, our standards evolve once again. We focus heavily on science, technology, and society, how things like massive factories or entirely new weapons completely alter human life. We study systems of governance, asking why societies choose different ways to rule themselves to address human needs and rights. We dive deep into connections and conflict, examining trade, war, and diplomacy. And finally, we circle right back to our original standards, time continuity and geography, to ground us as we reflect on the modern day. Section 5, Your Historical Toolkit. Remember, history is an active pursuit. You're going to master these core steps to become a true investigator. Let's actually walk through a worked example using our source-based model for the Middle Ages. Imagine we've got a primary text from a traveler describing medieval Chinese gunpowder. Using our source analysis organizer, we first figure out the author's exact context and perspective. Then we do a quick misconception check, like, wait a minute, were they totally isolated or were they actively trading this technology? We cite direct evidence from the text to explain how this innovation shaped their military institutions and fueled cultural developments. Finally, you answer a focused exit question to communicate your conclusions. That is exactly how you build an airtight historical argument. We've covered hundreds of years of history and outlined the skills you need to become a master investigator this year. So I want to leave you with one final thought, turning our essential question right back onto you. As you look around your life, your technology, your society right now, what new ideas are shaping our world today? Keep that question burning in the back of your mind as we kick off this amazing school year. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you discover.